Thank you all for attending today, the webinar. First, I wanted to put a thank you out to the Lynn Chamber of Commerce with Colin and Christine. Thank you for helping me with this. You did all the work. I'm just going to sit here and talk to all of you for about 20, 25 minutes. I've been a member of the Lynn Chamber of Commerce for a long time, 8, 9, maybe even 10 years. I'm one of the ambassadors to the Chamber. I enjoy helping business owners. I believe in what the Chamber does and helping the community. So if anyone here has any questions about what the Chamber does, how we can help you, please reach out to me or Christine or Colin. We'd love to bring some value to you for the membership. A little quick thing about me, page down. Let's see, here we go. So I've been doing this credit card thing for a very, very long time. At one point in time, I actually had hair. That's how long I've been doing this. I went to Bentley College. I went to Salem State University. Bentley College is now Bentley University, whatever that means. I don't know. I guess they can just charge you more for tuition. So the webinar today is called Credit Card Fees Suck. What a professional name that is, right? But I'm originally from Revere. What do you expect? So my goal today is twofold. Number one, to explain to you what causes credit card fees to increase, and hopefully show you some things that you can do, or maybe we can do together to show you how to reduce those credit card costs. If we can get those fees to something where they become insignificant, well, that would be a good thing, right? Because as a business owner, if you have an expense and the expenses are insignificant, you don't have to worry about it, and you can move on. So I am an independent agent and advisor in the electronic payments industry. I am not a credit card processing company. What we do is we work with business owners, large or small, and show them things that they can do to reduce their credit card costs. 95%, on average, 95% of what actually creates a credit card fee, most business owners don't understand what that is or how that works. All they know is they have rates, and business owners constantly change processing companies trying to lower their rate, but at the end of the month, their total cost doesn't go down. And the questions that we get asked is, how and why does that happen? And hopefully today I can explain that to you. So we're going to move down to the next page. And the first line item we have is something called interchange charges. This is where we're going to spend most of our time today. Interchange is the bulk of pretty much everything in the credit card world. And one of the questions that business owners ask us and help them with is, there's this interchange fees, Frank, that are all over my statement, and they're big numbers. And it seems like they are 60, 70, sometimes 80% of the total cost. What are they? How do I reduce it? And can I make it go away? So once the business owner understands what interchange is and how that affects their business, then they can start to look at things they can do to lower their credit card fees. So a couple examples. First off, interchange is not going anywhere. It is a real cost. Interchange comes from the type of card that you process, not just MasterCard or Visa or Amex or Discover, but was it a business card? Did it have rewards points, etc.? And your processing company will do a very good job of not explaining to you how interchange affects your business, because that allows them to pad their profit at your expense. And that's one of the reasons why, if you have a rate-based program and your rate is 1.2 or 1.4%, at the end of the month, your total cost is always about 3%. So here are a couple of examples. Let's say that you go into a store and you bought a shirt right off the rack and it costs $40, small, medium, large, extra large, right? So you buy a shirt that fits you, it looks good. But if you wanted a customized shirt or a custom-made suit or custom furniture, it would be a lot more expensive than what's on the rack. Now, the advantage to doing that is you have a custom suit made for you. It's going to look fantastic, but it's extremely expensive. In the merchant services industry, it is just the opposite. The more customized your merchant services product is, the lower your cost is. the more off the rack your merchant services product is, the more your cost is. Here's a couple of examples. Let's take Square or, I don't know, QuickBooks. Now, this is not a knock on Square or QuickBooks because they're good companies and they provide a good service. They have a one-rate-fit-all product. Well, those one-rate-fit-all products are off the rack. Everyone, regardless of what type of business you have, has the same rate. And that same rate will always be at the top of the scale. So when you use Square and your one rate fits all is 2.75%, but when you process someone's debit card, that card really only should have cost 0.8%. Look how much money Square makes. So that's just one example. Another example is the rate products that most processing companies work off. So processing companies sell credit card rates, and they're called qualified rates. And they tell you that you can receive this low number because you qualify based on the fact that how long you've been in business, or because you have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau, or you're not in a high-risk environment. Well, all those may be true. However, that's not really what qualified means as far as MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and Amex are concerned. A qualified rate, if you're in a rate program, does not apply to a credit card that you process that has rewards points. If it's a business card, if it's American Express, the credit card is not present, if you sell stuff online, the list goes on and on forever. So on average, the qualified rates will only equal 5% of all the transactions you will do. The other 95% comes with additional fees. So when you have that generic one rate fits all qualified rate, all the other transactions, which makes up 95% of what you're going to do, get charged some additional cost that's controlled by the processing company. You can't control what your credit card fees are going to be. And another piece of the credit card cost and how it affects your business, is based on what is called retail and card not present. So what does that mean and how does it affect your business? Well, let's take a store, something very simple. You go into a store, you buy something, the card is present, an everyday way of life. Well, most stores sell product online. They have a website and they sell stuff online. And today it's very common to have any store or any business who has a storefront and also a website. 50% of their transactions come from the store and 50% of their transactions come from the website. Nothing special about that. The generic way of assessing credit card costs for these businesses from their processing company is that one rate fits all product again. That processing company probably has not taken the time to show that business owner the difference in how credit card fees are assessed when the card is present in the store and when the card is not present online. Why don't they do that? Because that benefits them, because that's less customization. Your interchange, which we just talked about as your biggest piece of your processing cost, have now increased. Even though your rate decreased, you haven't saved any money, because that's not how credit card fees are assessed. It doesn't have anything to do with your rate. It has to do with the industry that your business is in, and there are different assessments for different types of industries. Was the card present or not present? And what type of data is captured? And until the business owner can fully understand where that comes from and how that affects them, their processing costs will never decrease. Another example is someone who is in the automobile repair shop, as an example. We drive past those businesses all day long. Well, some automobile repair shops also sell gasoline. Nothing special about that, right? So the business owner probably has not been told that because they do two different things, fix cars and sell gasoline, and many businesses provide more than one service. There are different ways that credit card fees are assessed based on whether you fix cars or sell gas. And chances are, if their credit card fees are high, reasons why they contact us to help them, is that If their business is set up as auto repair from the beginning and not attaching petroleum, their costs will always be as high as possible because auto repair has a higher interchange cost assessed by MasterCard Visa than petroleum. They make the rules, we don't. One of the services that we help people with is having the business owner understand how credit card fees are assessed. And once you understand from your industry and how you process your data, which goes back to what I've been saying for the last 5 minutes, the more customization there is, the better the overall cost will be. I'm going to go down to the next page here for a second. Qualifying and non-qualifying cards and what that means. So when a credit card is not present, and in today's environment, a credit card is not present sometimes more often than when a credit card is present. So many people aren't going into stores now, and they're shopping online, or they're calling ahead and having that data taken over the phone. And then someone manually enters that information into their credit card machine or their online payment portal. I'm willing to bet their processing company has never taken the time to explain to them that if your sales now are going to be more card not present, which is called a non-qualifying transaction, here are some of the things you should do to keep your costs down. Credit card processing companies make their money off of credit card fees. They don't make their money by reducing your costs. So, as an example, something you can do. One of the first questions that we will ask businesses as they come to us is, when you're processing a credit card and it's not present, and in every business to some degree, there will always be some transactions that are not present. Does your credit card machine or point of sale system, payment portal, or whatever it is that you're using, is your system asking you for the address, the zip code, and 3-digit code on the back of the card? And typically, the answer that we receive from business owners is, yeah, it does, but we were told that we don't have to do that, that it's not required. Well, that's true. No one is requiring you to enter anything. It's not a law, it's not a rule, and you can skip right over it because it's easy and more convenient. However, sometimes being more convenient is not very good, and that's why we don't do our grocery shopping at a convenience store, because it becomes very expensive, right? So, processing company has just said to you, you do not have to enter the address, the zip code, 3-digit code. Here's what they don't tell you. When you don't enter the address, the zip code, and the 3-digit code, you will automatically be charged another cost. It's called downgrading. Now, it doesn't show up on your statement as penalty, additional fee, or anything like that, because if it did, you would call and you would find out what's going on and you would fix it so you did not get charged those additional fees. But there are line items on your statement, and part of the process that we help business owners with is explaining to them what each of these line items mean, and that the 1.65% rate that you may have had, because the credit card is now being processed where the card is not present, has now become 1.95. And because you didn't enter all the information, it's now become 2.25. And because you did so many of these cards throughout the month, now it becomes 2.55. So that processing company just made an additional almost 1%, because you did not know that, even though it's not required, that you should have entered all of that information, which goes back to that customization. I want to go back to, let's see if I can do this the right way. No, wrong way. Bear with me. I am not a tech guy by any stretch of the imagination. And now my screen's not working. Now we have technical difficulties. Let's see. Here we are. Okay, so back in April, as another example, Visa had some modifications as to how they assess credit card costs. And there are certain types of transactions where, if the credit card was present, that business owner, all those credit card fees would decrease. Now, if you're a business owner and you own a store, or if you have any type of business where you're processing credit cards face to face, did your costs decrease in April? Probably not. Why did not Why did that not happen? If Visa reduced some of their costs? Well, because Visa reduced some of their costs and it goes to the processing company. Processing company is not required to pass those costs onto you, those cost savings onto you. So who reaped the benefit of that lower cost? Your processing company. When you don't know what you don't know what to ask for or who to ask it for it. Also in April, there were some modifications to Visa's transactions that would cause an increase to some of the transactions when the credit card was not present. And that increase probably equated to about 5% of the types of transactions. However, we have seen a lot of processing companies announcing a 3% across the board cost increase. So if you happen to be working with one of those processing companies, and you notice your fees went up in April, well, not only did your cost not come down, but they also increased, and that's just an additional fee that the processing company is passing on to you. So going down to the next slide here, I want to touch on this just for a couple of minutes. Level 3 data. So this is a very specialized way and a very unique way of customizing that product. Without getting too technical here, there are plenty of businesses who sell to businesses. They sell to consumers, but they also sell to businesses. Let's take a supply house. You're the consumer, you're going in and you're buying your landscape products, but so aren't the landscape providers buying those products as well. So businesses who sell to other businesses are businesses who just process a lot of business cards. Level 3 data is a customization that we can show you things to do. We can explain it to you. That's going to allow you to significantly reduce the interchange fee, which is what we talked about in the beginning. And the interchange fee is the bulk of your credit card costs. That's going to save you a large amount of money. And if you think about, when you look at your credit card statement, if you think about all the line items that are on there that probably don't make any sense to you, interchange is going to be the largest piece. And then the third bullet point on this page, when it says other fees, the miscellaneous costs, such as the transaction costs, the monthly fees, or maybe an association fee, what have you, those are all part of the equation as well. But we are more concerned, and we think there's more value showing the business owner how you can reduce the interchange cost, because that's going to give you the biggest bang of the buck, because that's the biggest piece of the puzzle. Once you get those in line or reduced, all the other smaller fees come into play as well, and those also will be reduced. Let's see, going down to the next page, because I think we're approaching 20 minutes here. So minimizing your risk, capabilities of merchant processing partners, etc. So minimizing your risk. This has to do with PCI compliance. PCI stands for Payment Card Industry. And business owners come to us typically, and the complaint they have is that they have to do this compliance thing that their processing company told them about. They don't really know what it is. They've tried to do it on their own. They spent an hour trying to answer all the questions, and then when they get to the end, it says that they failed and they didn't answer the questions correctly. And now that they're not in compliance, they get charged penalties, fees, fines, and their processing costs went up. So here's my take on this. PCI, Payment Card Industry, has 100% to do with you processing credit card data. If you're working with a credit card processing company and you are not being helped through the compliance process, fire them. There's thousands of processing companies that you can work with. We can connect you with them. Here's an example. You just decided that you were going to put this bright blue neon sign on your building. You hire the sign company, it costs $5,000 for the sign, but now you have to create the sign, design the sign, put the sign together, and oh, by the way, hire the trucking company that's going to hoist the sign up and attach it to the building. If you have to do all that work, why did you pay the sign company $5,000? Why are you working with a credit card processing company that's not walking you through being compliant? Well, I know one of the answers to that is because the processing company gets part of those fees and fines and penalties in their pocket. So PCI compliance is important. You are responsible for protecting your data, and by doing so, you eliminate all those problems. The capabilities of your merchant processing partner should be more than just processing data. And that's like asking a bank if they have checking accounts. Every bank does. Big deal. So what? What else are they going to do for you? Local service and support. Again, if you're comfortable with 1-800 customer support, fine. If you're comfortable with waiting a couple of days to receive an email back, okay, fine. There are other companies that we can introduce you to, that we can show you to, that is going to provide more real-time, upfront, in-person customer support. That's of value to you. We are into the 22-minute mark here, and I think I'm going to call it today for now. There are a couple of things I wanted to go over, but I want to make sure we get out of here within 30 minutes. So, Christine, any questions come our way?
Yeah, a couple questions. So the first is, does the size of the business affect the rate at all?
No. That has no value on size of the company. Does not have anything to do with your credit card processing costs.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay, good. Second is, do you provide the customer service or is it outsourced?
No, we do not outsource anything. So when we work with a client or help them through this, we're the ones who are actually doing the service work, and that is based on their specific product and how that's going to be customized. So if someone's using a credit card machine, their support and service is going to look like X. If someone is using an online payment portal, their support and customer service is going to be what's needed for them. The person who uses the credit card machine, when that credit card machine breaks, well, they're more concerned about having the person show up and fix that machine. The person who's doing the online thing, when their payment portal crashes, we don't need a technician to show up and fix that. We need a technician to be able to log in and do that. So we provide all the support for the people who we work with.
Great. And the last question I have here is, if the credit card is not present, will there always be additional fees to process?
Good question. Yes and no. So the yes part is, if you are not on an interchange fee structure, there will always be additional fees and a premium you pay for that. If you are on an interchange price structure, there may be an additional fee, but it's reduced because you're working within the guidelines of how that card is being processed. So it's not just a yes or no, there's more to it than just the card's not present, how much more do I have to pay?
Anybody have any questions? Any of our participants? If you do, leave it in the chat while we give everybody a minute. Frank, if you have anything else that you want to add before we wrap up, and again, for people who joined after we started, we are recording this. I'll be putting it up on our website, sharing it on our Facebook, and I'll also email it to everyone who registered today with Frank's information as well.
Yeah, this is my contact information. I'm more of a telephone guy than an email guy. So if anybody has any questions, just call. I answer my phone. Leave me a message, I'll call you back. I don't have anything to sell you. If I can help you through the credit card processing maze, more than happy to. And if I can't, I can find someone who can. Thank you for your time. I always believe that time is our most precious asset, and you have to choose to spend it wisely because you can't get it back. So these 25 minutes that you've been here today, we can't give that back to you. So I hope you've seen some value in the time you spent. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank, and thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye all, thank you.
Bye, thank you.